From a distance, the limestone kilns of Peddugurala seem part of a modern landscape of skyscrapers soaring into the sky. A closer look reveals a deeply disturbing spectacle of human suffering and relentless exploitation of labor, regardless of age and gender. These are some of the hardest working laborers in one of the 360 odd kilns of Peddugurala, a place that is a literal disgrace to human dignity. Some of these children have not even turned 10. Of the 15,000 laborers who work under extreme conditions in the quarries and kilns of Peddugurala, nearly 2,000 are children. Out of every 100 children, 40 are girl child workers. A typical day of a child worker here involves manually crushing the dynamited stones of the quarry and then carting them by hand to the kilns. Once at the kilns, these children are put to the task of transporting the crushed stone up a rickety structure where it is dumped into a hot and smoldering pit for baking. These juvenile innocents brave perilous conditions like extreme heat exposure, hazardous dust and chalk pollution, improper nutrition, and more. Conditions which would daunt even seasoned and hardened laborers. The white limestone produced in these kilns finally becomes an ingredient of high quality cement, distemper and paints, and is even used in processing sugar. Ironic that the fruits of labor should be so bitter. Ironic that this white limestone hides one of the blackest evils of this century. But what is it that drives these grown-ups into putting their young ones through such perilous ordeals at an age when they should be learning to play and grow up with other children? These quarries and kilns are no playing fields, and this work they are made to do is no innocent game. This is all work for too little. And there is a lot to be done at any given time, from dawn to dusk. The tyranny of work, the tyranny of employers, make them slaves to a meaningless grind. The burden lies heavy on these little shoulders and these battered and bruised feet. The pits of these kilns seem to have a monstrous appetite for destruction of young lives. Lives that are willingly sacrificed at their altar by desperate parents and callous employers. The deep and deceptively placid waters of these rain and pain-filled quarries have effectively drowned the voices and distraught cries of those who labor in them. The only voices you hear are those of hammer subduing stone endlessly. The inhabitants of this region have resigned themselves to an arbitrary fate and an unforgiving destiny.
మీరు మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ పని చేస్తుంటారు కదా పైన ఎక్కి అక్కడ కింద పడటము అలా ఏమైనా యాక్సిడెంట్స్ అలా ఏమైనా జరిగాయి ఇంతవరకు ఆ మెట్ల మీద నుంచి
The hazards of working in these quarries and kilns are further offset by an absolute lack of Medicare facilities, emergency or not. If accidents sometimes spare lives, then infections claim them for sure. The employers couldn't care less about the plight of these laborers. The general policy they seem to adopt when it comes to such matters as these is simple: work or starve. You could call them the man-children of Peddugurala, children who have been forced to grow up before their time. This young man, the younger of two in his family, expressed a yearning for learning, to be studying and playing at school, to be free from this killing routine. The other children expressed a similar desire, but also voiced their despair of ever finding freedom from this oppression. When asked why they had to work in these kilns, they came up with myriad reasons. Poverty is the root cause, of course, but the many shapes it assumes is what disturbs most. Some children were sold into bonded labor to pay off paltry debts contracted by the elder workers from their employers. No family planning, oversized families, extra mouths to feed, total lack of faith and belief in education and schooling. The causes are many, the consequences one. The parents would rather have their children labor and earn, rather than learn and earn. Alcoholism assumes a major role as a cause for child labor. The southern coastal belt of Andhra Pradesh, where we are right now, has the highest concentration of child workers in the state, and even when compared to anywhere else in the world. The stones of Peddugurala have crushed the hopes and dreams of thousands of innocents over the years. In the process of search and study, God has realized that only a community-oriented approach can effectively deal a telling blow to the spectre of child labor in Peddugurala. The Assistant Commissioner of Labor, Mr. Prasad, Guntur District, Andhra Pradesh, who was kind enough to accompany the court team to Peddugurala for our inspection, promised to extend all possible support to endeavors initiated by CORD here. He is well aware that a problem as daunting as the issue of child labor needs a concerted effort by governmental as well as non-governmental bodies to arrive at solutions. He expressed his surprise and delight at the fact that a non-governmental organization like CORD had dared to address this smoldering issue at the very crux. The problem is complex and entails comprehensive interaction with the society, the parents, and the children. It would have to be a multi-platform interaction ranging from adult education, informal education of children, and social awareness campaigns to institutional interaction where these children can be rehabilitated, relocated, and reformed, and given the freedom to live normal lives. A freedom they yearn for, through storms of despair and hope that course through their hearts. God has formulated this holistic and community-oriented approach plan to tackle the formidable Goliath of child labor at the very root and is poised to commence operations on a war footing.
Though many a government throughout the world have taken acute measures for the welfare of children, India still has to wake up from its stupor and rise up to free its own children from bondage and exploitation. This rampant exploitation of children from a very young age is obvious if one takes time to look around. It's not surprising to find many young children working for a meager sum, that is 20 rupees a day, in a hazardous job. So it's up to individuals and organizations to try and put a stop to this pathetic state of affairs. Can we make a change? Yes, we can, if we try, you and me and everybody else who cares.
The fires and flames of the limestone kilns of Peddugurala are consuming the hopes and dreams of tender lives even today. The smoke-shrouded darkness of dusk hides the fears and frustrations of these toiling beasts of burden. The coming daylight does not signal an end to their living nightmare.